All right, I'm back. What I want to show you, in 1959, Gibson, they made the what guitar players call the Holy Grail. Jimmy Page made it famous in Led Zeppelin. Right there, I want you to look at that. You notice how low those strings are? That is a 1959 Les Paul Standard built between 1985 and 1995. Orville Les Paul. Gibson had this company in Japan, couple little factories in Japan, build these guitars after Electra, Yamaha, and all these guitar companies, Greco, Bernie, were building exact duplicates because, now this all happened during the 80s because I'm getting way ahead of myself. Gibson stopped making this body design. Okay, and in 1969 they were making the SGs with the bat wing that Peter Townsend was scarfing up all across the country so he could bust them up in concerts. And then one day he says, I can't get any more of these. I better stop busting them up. Peter Townsend then started playing because Gibson came out in 1969 with this body style again, only with mini humbuckers. Mini humbuckers were real small. They were the size of P90s. They fit actually in the pickup cover of a P90 pickup and fit in a little hole. Now, I'm getting a little technical. Those, I was told at the time, and I remember looking at a 69 gold top Les Paul special in a pawn shop, and every year the guitar went up $100. It sat there forever, and the price jumped $100 every year. Because every time I can get enough money to buy it, the price would jump. And I was told, these were made from bodies and necks that Gibson built in the 50s. The very first ones were built from bodies and necks that Gibson built in the 50s. Which I thought, oh wow, that'd be like owning a 1950s Les Paul, built in 1969. They just assembled it together in 1969, put the electronics in it. And I didn't really know a whole lot about the construction. And I mean, you can tell that neck has got to go way deep into that body, right? At least from here to the pickup. So there's a lot of wood off this neck inside that body to make sure it doesn't crack, it doesn't break, and it sustains. But Gibson did one other thing in the 50s that they stopped doing when they started making them again. And there was a little piece of wood about that long called a long tenon that even extended into the pickup cavity. That's called a long tenon neck joint. So folks, when you go on eBay and you're going to buy an Orville Les Paul, make sure, A, it says long tenon neck joint, and then B, make sure you see a picture of the long tenon neck joint. And right before I do the part with this, I'll probably throw up a picture of a long tenon neck joint. It just adds to the guitar. I kid you not. I didn't know about this stuff until I started buying Orvilles. I've owned a total of 4, and 3 at one time, and I have two right now, a black custom and this one here that I call Page, obviously, because of Jimmy Page. My black custom I call Fogerty because the very first black custom I ever saw was played by John Fogerty of Creedence Clearwater Revival. So this is going to be a 4-part video. We might as well just freaking say it, I guess. Les Paul designed these guitars back in the late 40s, early 50s, and they have stood the test of time. So to the point there's more copies of Les Pauls on the market than any other guitar, except maybe a Strat. But I still think there's probably more Les Pauls than there are Strats, copy-wise. Strats are easier to make, but anyway, we're talking about Les Paul. We're not talking about Leo Fender. But anyway, this has always been the guitar I've wanted my whole life. I bought this last year when I was 52, and I'm not going to tell you how much I gave for it. But if somebody wanted to buy this from me, they would have to plot down on the table $2,000 before I would take them seriously. And they probably still wouldn't walk away with the guitar. Because like old Gibsons, Orville's, good Orville's are hard to find, and they're getting more rare and more expensive every day. This is the equivalent of owning a 1959 Gibson Les Paul Standard Holy Grail guitar, only it says Orville on the headstock. These were licensed by Gibson, and the designs was given to the factory by Gibson, and they built these the way they built them in the 50s. They weren't even building them in America this good at that time. But bottom line, we talk about Les Paul. Les Paul was the pioneer, the innovator, and he was like 90-something years old when he died back in August, and held an every Monday or Wednesday night gig at a little jazz club in New York, and could still play. When he was in a car accident in the 50s, he crushed his bones in his right arm, and the doctor said, "You'll never play guitar again." He said, "Set my arm so that it would be in the angle where I could play guitar." And that's what the doctor did, so he could play guitar. So this has been Smoke a Cigar with Howlinblind, and my tribute to Les Paul. Definitely my hero when it comes to guitar building and innovations, inventions, because had it not been for Les Paul, I wouldn't own this guitar right here. And this is my mainstay guitar. Y'all have a great day, folks. It turned out to be a 4-part video, maybe. We'll see. And then later on, I'm going to talk about finance reform.